We are live. I'm going to go out to my Facebook page just to make sure we are live, although StreamYard has never let me down before, but just to make sure. So we are live. So welcome, everybody. Welcome to this week's installment of Bold Breakthroughs with Heather Morrison. And I want to do a little housekeeping first of all. So I want to make sure that if you are joining us on StreamYard, that you click on the little link. There's a little link there that says, please let StreamYard know that you're here. That will allow people to see who you are. Otherwise, I'll just get comments and it'll say, Facebook user wants to know whatever the question is. Okay, here we go. So make sure you're doing that. And then I wanted to give a brief introduction and read a little bio for our guest today, Miss Amber Morgan. So let me do that, and then we will jump right into things. Amber Morgan is a local customer service focused agent with over a decade of experience helping first-time and seasoned home buyers and sellers achieve their real estate goals. In that time, she has closed over 160 properties, which means there's almost nothing she hasn't seen. She is a volunteer firefighter. That's so badass. And is passionate about serving her community. She's grateful that she's able to serve in both roles where she grew up, raised her children, and now gets to watch her grandchildren grow. What, did you have kids when you were like 3? I can't believe you're a grandmother. Amazing.
I mean, we'll go with that.
So welcome, Miss Amber. I'm so excited to have you here. You and I met at a women in networking group, didn't we?
Yeah. Seems like both, so far away and just the other day.
25 years ago, I know. It's crazy. So I like to bring people on that are just people that are so impressive to me. And you struck me as one of those women. You have got so many things going on, and yet you do them beautifully. And I love your tagline, which is leave a little sparkle wherever you go. And that's exactly what you do. So I'm so grateful that you're here with us today and to share with the audience about your story. So let's dive in. So take us on a journey of how your company or how your practice came to be. Like, what was your inspiration? How did you find yourself on this path?
When I was growing up, I always thought that I'd grow up to be a CPA. I love numbers. I love data. That just always has really struck me as something super interesting. But then as I got older, took accounting courses and kind of embarked upon that path, I found that I enjoy people far too much to be locked away in a room with, interacting with just numbers. So I had a really unique opportunity. My kid's dad was deployed for a year. And while he was gone, I was able to take that opportunity to go back to school and do anything I wanted to do. So my grandma was a real estate agent in the 70s. And I really kind of looked at that and I thought, that is data and numbers and people and all of the things that I love really married into one. So during that deployment, I went back to school. I took all of my classes through PCC so that I could use them for a degree at some point, and took my classes. And my goal was to have it done before he got home. And I took my real estate exam about a week before he got home, so I did it. And and I'm getting ready to start my 12th year.
Wow. And in addition to that, you are also a volunteer firefighter. How did that journey come about?
Oh boy. So my husband is a volunteer firefighter, and we, there's been a number of nights where pager goes off and he, off he goes, and I'm stuck at home, really can't do anything. But kind of the catalyst for me was we were spending time at the lake as a family. There was a call that came in. It involved a little girl. I was in the car with him. We are, en route to the station. Well, we happened upon the incident because it was between us and the station. And so he's there, he's assessing, he's, like totally a pro. So he's got it all handled. And I didn't know what to do with myself. So I went over, sat down by the mom and the little girl, and I just started singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I don't know what to do. And so by a unique kind of happenstance, a couple weeks later, I was being a lazy mom, well, I shouldn't say lazy mom. I just didn't want to cook dinner that night. And so we ordered pizza, and I told the kids, just go out, sign the receipt. It happened to be the mom of that little girl. And so because one of my kids, wasn't sure what to do about the tip, they came and got me. I went out there and we kind of realized who we were. And she told me I was her angel that day, and that she sang that song to her daughter until they took her back for surgery. And, and I was like, okay, I may not be able to do everything on scene, but something, even if that is just singing a song. So that was kind of how I sorry, a little choked up. That is how I came to that decision. I'm like, I need to be able to do something. I can't just sit on my hands. Can't do it. Doesn't work for me.
Wow. I love that you actually took that experience and turned it into something that you wanted to do, because a lot of people say I was moved to tears or that really impacted me. But the fact that you went through it, and it's not, being a firefighter is not an easy thing to do. That's probably a lot tougher than you going to get your real estate license in terms of physicality, right? Mm-hmm. So, and then also what you come across, when you're a firefighter, you probably don't see, crushed cars and fires when you're showing real estate, right? So the fact that you put yourself into that and really made a difference. And I want to share a story real quick. We had an incident at our house, and we had fire trucks and police and ambulances and all this stuff here. And the ambulance guy came over and the fire guy came over, like, hey, would you take a tour? They took my 12-year-old son. They're like, hey, you want to tour the fire truck? Hey, you want to tour that meant the world to us, because while stuff was going around for us, and obviously for him as well, it was a sense of normalcy, right? And it was a sense of somebody reaching out to him. So the fact that that's what I started getting all choked up. The fact that you sat down with that child and just like brought the focus into her and brought the focus into that song is just such a precious story. And it just explains exactly who you are in a nutshell and why you are so good at being a firefighter. I want to bring up a couple comments as these are coming in. Oh, this is so cool. So Patrick Weinman says, Amber is the definition of awesome sauce. We are so thankful to have her in our department. I love it. It's one of the firefighters. Rock star, he says. Robin Ferris says, so very proud of you, Amber. Oh, I should have got the tissues up for this one. I should have known it was going to be a tearjerker. This is awesome. And this just explains the community that you've built around you. Your vibe attracts your tribe. So these people have got your back because you've gotten theirs for so long. So this is awesome. So let's keep going. I can't believe this. What is it? We're 10 after and I'm already crying. So excuse me, along the way, what were some of the challenges you faced when you were starting out, and how did you overcome them?
So in real estate, really, I think that the largest challenge is, getting into it. You're helping advise people on their, largest purchase of their life. This is their biggest asset, and they really have to know that you're going to advocate for them, you're going to represent them well, and that they can trust that you know what you're doing. And that's really difficult when you don't know what you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. So getting that, somebody to give you a chance. I talked to a lot of agents and really, asked for kind of that mentorship, and partnered with people so that I could establish that experience, so that I could really engage with people and have them feel like they could trust me. So that was probably the biggest challenge.
Well, and I love that you, instead of trying to, which is something that we do as an entrepreneur, you try to operate in a vacuum, right? You try to think, I'm going to do this all. And so I love that you were struggling and you reached out to someone to find as a mentor for you, and really, I'm looking for a Post-it note, to really bring into your business as a partner to your business in terms of like, I can't handle this right now. I don't know what I'm doing. I need some help. So it takes a lot more strength to do that, I think, than it does to struggle alone. So good for you for doing that. So and I think I already know, well, maybe I don't know the answer, but what's a big, bold move that you've made in your life?
A big, bold move?
Yeah.
I think probably deciding to go through Fire Academy. That was something that was totally outside of what was comfortable for me. When I made the decision to go through, I thought, I got this. I'm going to go do the physical. I went and did the physical, and I didn't pass. And they only do it every 6 months. So then I kind of, okay, regroup, going to try this again. Second attempt, I didn't pass again. So before my third attempt, I made some, significant decisions. I was going to commit to a, workout routine. I was going to practice a lot harder than I had at the skills where I struggled. I was going to, get healthier, right? My body, my mind, everything just get healthier. And, I pulled in and relied on a lot of people who were kind of in my circle that, like give me tips and tricks and what works for you. These things, there's kind of an art to it, right? But you don't know that if you don't ask. Like, how do you do it? Let me try. Does that work for me too? No. Okay, then ask somebody else. How do you do it? Let me try. And then, until you arrive at something that fits what your needs, but you only discover that if you ask.
Yeah. And I love that I've heard the phrase hire slow, fire fast, meaning if you're hiring employees, right? So you take a long time to go through that process. And then if they're not working, you fire them right off the bat. So I love that you looked at other people for advice, but then when that wasn't working for you, you cut bait, right? You knew when to fish and cut bait. And a lot of people don't do that. Again, it's a lot harder to let go of something that's not working than it is to kind of drudge through stuff. So I really love that you are such a great person that's like, you know what, just because it worked for them doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work for me, but that doesn't stop me from continuing to ask and continuing to seek out help. I'm just going to move on to the next person because maybe they have the answer. I love that. Ooh, I've got cold chills and tears today, Amber. So, and real quick, Kesley is on joining us today. She says, hello, ladies, two awesome women.
Hi.
Right back at you, Miss Kesley. Yay. So I wanted to find out, what is the vision for your company or your life, your choice?
So I think my vision for my company, as I've been doing this for a long time, it continues to grow. And I need to be able to provide kind of the same level of excellent customer service to everyone, whether I've got, 2 people that I'm working with or 20 people. So my vision really is, I made an excellent hire this year. And then I've got another couple of agents that I kind of partner with. And so they're really, it's kind of a symbiotic relationship where I am able to lean on them to help make sure that I'm able to provide excellent customer service. And at the same time, I'm able to mentor them and grow them so that when they're ready to fly, they're able to, to move on to their next best thing. And so it's really kind of this win-win, but they're an extension of me, which means I get to teach them the way that I do it. And, and then I have to trust that, they're going to be phenomenal. So my vision is to continue to grow, hire people to my weaknesses, right? Because we all have them. And then be able to buy back my family time, because that's the most important thing to me. And they're my why. And so, like, you don't have to do it all on your own, right? Any business that you're in, you don't have to be the only one. You don't have to work yourself 24/7, right? Hire people who have the same values and the same vision as you, and then, lean into them. And so they get the benefit of some excellent experience, and you get the benefit of buying your time back.
Yeah. Well, I love that you mentioned buying your time back, because I don't think that's something that we think about in terms of getting to spend time with our family now, right? Especially in whatever business that you're in. If you're an entrepreneur, you're working for corporate America, we tend to think of ourselves as we have to hustle, especially in America, right? We have to hustle. We have to hustle. That's a badge of courage and a badge of honor. But we're building ourselves up for retirement. So we're running and we're hustling, and then we'll relax and we'll enjoy our family when we retire, right? And by that time, first of all, our kids have moved away. Second of all, we probably don't have the energy to hang out with our family like we do right now. And it's almost like in your industry, in selling a house, I'm so struck by how many people wait. They live in a house for 20 years, and then they wait until they're going to put it on the market and then do all the upgrades, right? And then it's like, why are you doing them now so you can enjoy them? So I love that you talk about the fact that you're hustling, but you're also leaning on other people and bringing other people into that and mentoring them in the process, so that you can enjoy the time right now. That is such a great reminder, Amber. And that's the first time I've heard somebody mention that. So kudos to you. That is awesome. I know that you had one point in the networking group we were involved in, you talked about goals. We were talking about goals that week. That was our topic of conversation. And you have a goal board or a goal format or a goal process that you walk. Can you give us like just a couple minutes on how you came up with that, like what it is you do? And then, I mean, the year that I was there, you had a really phenomenal year in terms of hitting your goals. And I'm sure that's only gone up from here. So.
So, yeah, I'm really, it's kind of a unique thing where I'm not money driven, right? None of us, want to work for free, but money isn't my driver. Serving people and taking care of people is really what drives me. But when you wake up every day, you have to have some sort of goal or something that you're working towards. So in 2019, I picked just a number. I was like, I'll close 19 homes in 2019. And so that was what I set as my goal because I had to pick something. And I create a board so that way I can see it every single day, right? I know if I'm on track. I know kind of where I am in the process. And by the end of the year, will I hit my goal? And then I ended up exceeding my goal. So I ended up closing 27 homes that year. So then I decided, well, I'll do like a 10% increase because why not, right? Taking care of people. And I don't really advertise. Everything is word of mouth. So this is, kind of that why I need those additional people to help kind of support me and make sure I maintain that customer service. Because then I set a goal, I'm like 10% increase, I'll close 30 houses in 2020. And I ended up finishing the year with 36. So it continues to grow year over year. And, in 2019 with those 27 houses, I went through Fire Academy and, and then last year responded to, as many calls as I could. And so but none of that would have happened if I hadn't bought back my time and I didn't have a clear kind of vision and direction and know what I hope to accomplish in the year.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to point that out. So in the beginning of 2019, you wanted to sell 19 houses. Mm-hmm. And not only did you kill that goal, but a year later, you had sold 36 houses. So when they did a 2-year period, right? 2019, 2000. So you had sold 36 houses in 2020 and then 27 houses in 2019. Mm-hmm. Holy, you're a rock star. That is phenomenal. And I love that you didn't rest on your laurels. You're like, whoa, I sold my 19. I'm done, right? That you kept going and you kept going and you kept going. And then you didn't look back to that year to improve on, take that 19, right? You took that 27 to try to improve on that. Awesome. Yeah. And just such a great reminder of having that vision board. And I'm a huge believer in manifestation of visual boards. I've got visual boards, but then getting up off your hinder and going to work to actually get it, right? So yeah. Awesome. So what's the best piece of advice that you've ever received from someone?
I think my favorite piece of advice is treat everyone with equal respect, regardless of what they can do for you.
Yes. Yep. And I remember hearing that. One of the things I loved about President Obama's administration, is that someone did a book afterwards and he had all the photographs of that administration. And it showed him fist bumping the janitor. And of course, there was a camera in tow. But that's kind of how he lived his life, whether he was meeting a dignitary or a head of state or the janitor, right? Treating them with the mentality that everyone, everyone's an equal. I love that. That is really great advice.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that, how that kind of transitions into real estate too is, I've ended up with clients who they had worked with 2 or 3 agents before. They were a low purchase price, which meant, you have to work a lot harder to find something and find something that's financeable. And they, really didn't feel like they were served well. And so, I don't care purchase price again, right? I said, money isn't my driver, and it really isn't. I love to deliver keys to a buyer who maybe thought they never could buy a house. They just didn't think it was even in the cards for them. And being able to hand them keys, and have that moment with them and help them kind of come into that. And so, I'm like, I don't care what purchase price. I don't care. Just take care of people, love on people.
Yeah. Oh, that's such great advice. That's so awesome. So what is a habit that's been instrumental to your success, do you think?
I think that is timeliness. My mom, bless her heart, I love you, Mom. She was late to everything when I grew up. And so that was just the way, like we were always, always late. And my poor children have to be 15 to 30 minutes early to everything. So they probably will be late to everything when they're adults because they're going to look back and like, oh my gosh, we always had to wait because we got there early. But it's timeliness in, showing up for appointments. If I tell somebody I'm going to be there at 1:00, I am parked around the corner, usually at 12:45, and I pull in their driveway at 12:59, and I'm at their door at 1:00. Like that's just the way I operate. So I think just being timely.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, and I think that shows them that you respect their time as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what's a habit that's been instrumental to your success?
What was that?
What's a habit that's been instrumental to your success?
I think really, I don't know if it's so much of a habit, but really listening to people and hearing their needs, and not like asking a lot of questions. So I make sure I have a really clear understanding of what their needs are and not so much my interpretation of their needs, right? So oftentimes people will give you a little bit of information, you process it through your lens, right? And so you think you've got it, you're like, write it down, moving on. But always ask additional questions and make sure you really have a very clear picture of what their needs are, because oftentimes it's not the same. It's not what they are saying isn't what you're hearing and taking in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. My husband does that really well, and I've heard you do that before. So when you repeat, like, okay, so what I'm hearing you say is, right? And I think that especially as a real estate agent, when you've got so many balls in the air and so many moving pieces, that if you misinterpret something and go in a direction based on that, then you've got a lot of the stuff to undo, or you've pulled all these thinking that they're looking for one thing and they're not looking for another thing. And speaking of real estate, I am in such awe of your industry because you, as a real estate agent, you're a marriage counselor. Right? You're a personal counselor. You have to, it's like you said, it's such an emotional purchase. It's probably one of the biggest things that we do in our lives, right? You're dealing with them, moving and having to deal with the emotions that go along with that. And, maybe kids that don't want to leave. And so I am just in such awe of you being a real estate agent. And you just do it so beautifully because of these things, because you show up on time for people, because you really listen to hear and not just listen to speak, right? So many times we're just listening and waiting for the pause and the break so we can interject what our thoughts are. So I love that you brought that up because that's really, really important, especially with something that's so personal as a house. They spend 99% of their time there, right? So super good thing. So looking back, what's something you would have done differently, or something that you're really grateful that you did it the way you did it?
I really thought hard about this one, and I don't think I would do anything differently. I endured hardships. I struggled. Sometimes things were easy. Sometimes you take the easy road. Sometimes you take the hard road. But everything that I've done has kind of brought me to where I am and made me the person I am. So I don't know that I would actually change anything.
Mm-hmm. I love that. I think that life is like a choose your own adventure books, and I'm aging myself here. Do you remember the choose your own adventure books? And so you get to the end of a chapter and it would say, if you'd like to go into the castle, turn to page 63. If you'd like to go into the field, turn to page 68. And based on where you went, right, it took you to a different adventure, and then that had a different, and so it brought you on this path. And I'm a big believer in that as well. The choices that I've made have brought me exactly to this path, which is exactly where I'm supposed to be right now. So I love that answer. Yeah. And I'm with you. Like, I don't look at anything as a regret. It was a teaching lesson.
Right. Yeah. So, fail fast, fail forward, right? So we're all going to have failures. So pick yourself up, learn something from it, and, move on.
Yeah, exactly. So what's feeding your brain right now? Are you the type of person that likes to listen to podcasts or books on audio or watch webinars, or are you a part of a course or ongoing education or anything like that?
So I spend a lot of time really immersed in real estate and, like attending weekly meetings and classes. And so I like to spend a lot of my off time listening to podcasts that are totally unrelated to real estate and creating art. So kind of creating fills my bucket. And so if I'm ever feeling drained, just like sit down, paint something, glue, tongue depressors to something and make mermaid scales. Like, I don't know, just like repaint that metal vase that's in the living room. And like, sometimes I just feel inspired to just change it and, just create. So that's kind of what I do to, and spend time with my family.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't believe you're a grandma. How many grandkids do you have?
I've got my fourth one coming on by February 9th.
Oh my gosh, it's like 2 weeks from now.
I know. So 3 girls and a boy. So
yeah. Congratulations.
Ooh, super excited.
So you're really motivated to lean in so you can spend time right with your family right now. That is awesome. You've got a full house. That is really cool. And I didn't know that I knew that you like to paint. I didn't know that you had an artistic flair about you.
Yeah, I don't do it as much as I would like to. But I like to share it. My favorite thing is to take old things and make them new. So, like I got this really incredible possum belly baker's cabinet from my mother-in-law, and it was her husband's parents, if I remember right. And it was made here in Forest Grove. And like, it was in the basement for a long time. So it had all of this, like kind of pieces that were worn down and really I just had it and I looked at it for a really long time and then I just turned it into, something kind of shiny and new. So I love taking old metal wall art and repainting it. And that's probably my favorite thing to do is take it old, make it new, and love it.
In your free time, Amber, because you don't have enough things going on in your life. That's awesome. Well, and I love that you have created a life for yourself. You set yourself up in life that you are able to have time to do those things, right? And I love that goes back to like having a power of choice. It's how you design your space and how you design your life and how do you design your family and your workspace. And so that's awesome that you are aware enough that you're bringing in other people, right? And leaning on other people to help you in that journey. I love that. So what is a way that people can reach out to you? And then I also want you to leave us with a little tip, something that you feel like people should know when they're in the market or selling or, all things real estate.
Yeah. So people can find me on Facebook as Amber Morgan. I am kind of an open book, so I am there. Send me a friend request if you'd kind of like to follow along my life's adventures. I have a website, Amber and Amber Morgan, or that's my email address, ambermorganhomes.com. And you can reach out to follow me there. I'm on Instagram, which will send you all of the links below. And then my kind of parting advice is seek a professional long before you think you're ready. So whether that's a CPA or a coach or a real estate agent or, seek a professional, right? Because the way I operate, I set goals because I have to work with the end in mind and then work my plan backward. And so, talking to a CPA and saying, this is where I hope to be in 2 years. What do I need to know, right? Because that may change your course of action. So talk to a professional long before you think you're ready.
Interesting. I love that. And what that also allows you to do is if you are all of a sudden finding yourself having to sell a house or buy a house or whatever, you're in a scramble, you're in a mad dash to find somebody, right? If you have that relationship built up ahead of time, that's half the battle right there, especially with something that's so emotional about that. And I love that. And Amber, like Amber mentioned, after this broadcast, she's going to go ahead and drop all of her links down below so you guys can reach out to her and find her on the internet. The thing I love about you, Amber, is that there's so many real estate agents in the world, right? There's so many doctors, there's so many lawyers, every market is flooded. But the thing about a real estate agent is that, like I said before, because you have to be such a concierge of services, you are so well networked and you know so many people and you do have such a spirit of service that I so adore that it's not about, I've heard you talk about stories in the networking group where there wasn't even a sale involved for you and you just reached out to help somebody because you knew you were in a position to do it. I'm crying again, because you are in a position to do that, and that's what sets you aside from other real estate agents. So, you guys, I encourage you, like Amber said, if you're in the market for a house now, or selling, or buying, or whatever. Even if you're not, like Amber said, start building a relationship now. So I really encourage you to reach out to Amber, because she is an amazing woman, and she does leave a little sparkle wherever she goes. I really appreciate it. So, Amber, did you have anything you wanted to leave us with before we go?
No, I think that was it. Just really, and talk to a coach. Talk to a coach. They're phenomenal. I have a coach, and sometimes she tells me things that I know that I need to, I need to hear. It lives in the back of your brain, it's like that nagging thing, but having somebody help you organize your thoughts, or, they might give you some little insight that you never really thought about. So yeah, talk to a coach, talk to a CPA, talk to a real estate agent, find all those things that you think you'll need in the next couple of years, develop a relationship, talk to them.
Yeah. Perfect advice, Miss Amber. Thank you so much. I'm going to check real quick to see if we have any last questions. Kesley said, preach. I'm assuming she was talking about the whole presentation, because it was awesome today. It was the Church of Amber. I so appreciate you being here. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. I so appreciate you being here. Please reach out to Amber down below. And I am looking forward to getting together with you in person when all of this comes back to some sort of new normal. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here today. And join me next week for Tuesday's installment of Bold Breakthroughs with Heather. Thank you, Miss Amber. I so appreciate you. You go off and have a great day.
All right, you too. Thanks, Heather. Bye.
Bye, guys.